What's up, everybody? It's Avis, and welcome to episode 3. That's right, episode 3 of So Inspired. My guest today, you all, we need to hear from him today. He is a powerhouse motivational speaker, author, educational consultant. This man does it all. So without further ado, let's welcome Mr. Jeremy Anderson.
Hey. What up, sis? How you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
Great.
Good. Okay, so for those that don't know, tell us who Jeremy Anderson is and what exactly he does.
First I'll say thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you for being here. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
So Jeremy is a husband, father, a man of God, educator at heart,
Yes.
social worker by trade, degree, a motivational speaker, educational consultant, author. You know what I'm saying? Father, son, you know what I'm saying? That's it.
Everything you all.
Yeah,
Everything.
I serve it to the people.
The people.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you and your motivational speaking. Like, how did you get into that? Like, when did you know that that's what you wanted to do?
That's a funny question. So I had some friends, like my OGs years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They were speaking. I saw them like Big Shan and Eric and others. And I'm thinking like, man, I would one day want to do that. And actually went to college. Now I had some issues when I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
But when I finally got to college, I actually studied communications.
Nice.
Because I thought that if you're going to be a motivational speaker, you got to figure out how to like effectively communicate.
Right.
And so I went into communications, and then I realized after like the third semester, like this is really like TV, radio, mass media production.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I switched to social work because
wow.
I was in the library one day. Now I don't know if I was doing schoolwork or if I was flirting, right? But I was in the library.
He was flirting.
You know what I'm saying? I was in the library, and I heard all this commotion in this one like room that you rent, like to study hall. And I'm thinking like they having a party, and my boy Corey came out. And I said, bro, what y'all doing in there? I was like, I'm trying to kick it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's like, man, we studying. I'm like, studying? What y'all majoring in? He was like, social work, and we about to change the world. And that passion and that energy for helping others, I'm like, shit, that's right up my alley.
Right.
So I instantly switched my major from there. And so I went in and then got degrees and began to do other things. But it wasn't until this little girl at this middle school, this lady in my church was like, come to my school and speak.
Right.
I shared my story. This little girl, red hair and freckles, was like, you changed my life. You saved my life. I was going to commit suicide.
Wow, that's powerful.
She was like, but because of your story, now I want to live. I was like, ooh. You know what I'm saying? I was like, hold on. So I went and told my wife, I said, babe, like, I got something with this motivational speaking. Like, this is my story.
Right.
And I knew then it was time to make it a full-time career.
Nice. So talk to us about the insecurities that you have in this business, because people think that it is easy to break into motivational speaking, and it is not easy, people. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, so for me, some of the biggest insecurities that I had was, like, am I good enough?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do they really care? When it came to the youth, it was one thing. I feel like I could rock the mic, but when it came to teachers,
Right.
I had so many teachers like, so what grade you ever teach? And they knew I'd never been in the classroom.
Okay.
So I could feel that tone.
Right.
And so I would let them know, like, I'm not here to tell you how to teach your lesson plan.
Right.
I'm here to show you how to connect with the hearts of these kids.
Right.
So while you're sitting here judging me, you probably got that same spirit when it comes to your students. You know what I'm saying? So like, let me show you how to connect with them and how to see the best in them. And
Nice.
so I had to get over that.
Right.
And then I began to stand and speak with more authority, knowing like, yo, this is where God has placed me. And so I just put that work in. And then I think a part of it was easy because of all the stuff in the trenches. That's what most people don't see. Public service announcement. Today, I would probably say out of all of the times I ever stood before a group of people and spoke, I would probably say that only, this is a guess, 60% have been paid. The other 40% free. I can't even begin to tell you and all your followers, your guests that's rocking with us, how many schools, group homes I've spoken at for free, how many homeless shelters, how many detention centers, jails, prisons.
Right.
I had a program here in Fulton County, like I've been in LA, Skid Row, like all over East Coast, West Coast, like all those times I'm in like a homeless shelter speaking. We just got done serving people. I'm in front of a crowd of 20 people, 3 of them crackheads, some of them fall asleep.
Right,
you know what I'm saying? Some of them asking me for money while I'm trying to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like, been out in the community doing community events, you know what I'm saying? Like, revivals, like all of that stuff is like what prepared me. So I probably got at least 2 years of full-time speaking for free under my belt, collectively.
Were there times that you felt like giving up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then I wonder, like, is this really the path I'm supposed to be on?
Right.
Because it really wasn't taking off.
Exactly.
But I just believed in just putting your head down and adding value. Now, if I was single, it would have been different. Because I promise you, I'd be like, hey, can I sleep on your futon?
Right.
My homeboys, maybe you have a friend, like, can I borrow a room? Like, I don't need much.
Right.
But I got a wife.
Right.
And my daughter was a newborn. I'm thinking, like, you feel me?
Yeah.
Like,
You got to handle your business. You got to handle your business.
If I didn't speak, I didn't eat. And then my wife's so crazy that she quit her job too. She was like, "Oh, you think you finna just travel the world and speak and change lives, and I gotta stay here and work? God gonna have to do something. We gonna figure this out together."
Yes, ladies, that's what we do. That's what we do. We
you
come in and we do that.
Our queens, like, for real. You see that painting there?
Yeah, it's really nice. You did that. Oh wow,
yeah,
nice.
Inspiration online, but I say that because those are just a lot of the some of the patriarchs, right? But then also there were some powerful women in my life.
Right.
And so I share that with you because my wife was like, yeah, you good with the microphone, but behind the scenes, the structure, the organization, the marketing, you all over the place. I'm going to take this journey with you. And for me, that makes the stakes higher.
Nice.
Because she works for the government. You know what I'm saying? And so her salary alone will cover the car note, the mortgage, stuff like that. So I know all about like, the risk and the sacrifice and the frustration. Of like, when that breakthrough gonna come. Then we had a little nonprofit. Other people was traveling with us, and half the time we had just enough to cover payroll and pay them for the month, and then we looking like, how we gonna pay our own bills? And God always made a way.
Always makes a way, you all. Always.
Somebody would order randomly like 400 books, and I'm like, I'm doing a number 400 times 20. I'm like, that's $8 grand.
Right.
I'm on the floor laid out like, look, God, look at you.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, go and take care of your rent, all your bills for the next few months, and get back on the road. And so I can talk about that's a whole other conversation we'll have to have.
Nice.
But I got over those insecurities because I went through that wilderness experience where I was like, I know I'm living in my purpose. I know I'm making an impact. Folk crying, I'm making that connection. I'm being vulnerable, transparent. But I'm like, well, when is it not going to be
jump off? Burden? Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to want to travel and speak. They say, what if you could do whatever you want to do and money wasn't a factor? I'm like, but money is a factor.
Money is a factor.
I gotta pay mortgage.
Right.
That's cute when we in middle school or high school.
Right.
That's a cool little conversation. Right. But as adults, most people don't have the luxury to do that. You know what I'm saying? And so the stakes for me was higher because I did have a family, but I just kept putting that work in. So when the time came for me to stand before teachers, and that insecurity would rise, I'm like, oh, I don't work too hard to get here.
Right.
So let me let you know something, okay?
And everybody's going to listen now.
Sure.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so you said something interesting. You said that you wanted to come in and talk to teachers about how to connect with their students. And, I'm an educator, and that is so important. And I think a lot of teachers forget that in the process. And especially now with us being virtual, we're overwhelmed in a totally different kind of way. So I guess talk to me about why you believe it's important to connect with students.
So I feel like in order for you to teach them, you got to be able to reach them.
Facts.
We put so much focus on the curriculum and the lesson plan, and I get it because the district and the administrators, they got so much pressure. But it's like, but in that classroom, if Michael or Sabrina didn't eat, or they tired, or their mama just got into a fight, or somebody in jail, or whatever's happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some social emotional stuff.
Exactly.
That's why the role you played with our curriculum was pivotal. You the real MVP. For real, y'all. We got a K-12 social emotional learning curriculum that we get in schools, and it wouldn't have been nothing if it wasn't for this woman right here.
Okay.
We got the juice.
The juice, guys.
For real. And I mean that. Like, I could only go so far.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I knew I needed help.
Right.
And so sometimes people can be so prideful,
but
I'm like, nah, like, I need help. I ain't got the answers, so I got with you and others. Same way in the education space. A lot of teachers feel like they the authoritative figure. I got the answers. Like, yo, let me come in. I ain't gonna teach you how to do the Pythagorean theorem and all of that. I ain't got nothing for that. But I can show you how not to take it personal if you got attitude.
Exactly.
I can show you how to take someone that's highly disruptive and how you can make them an ally and a leader in the classroom.
Exactly.
Right? I can show you how to connect with those people who got their hoodie on and don't want to even talk to you. I can show you how to peel it back onion by onion, layer by layer.
Right.
And so that's really the approach, you know what I'm saying, that I take.
So what kind of student were you growing up?
The worst. Can I keep it 100?
Yeah.
Keep it 100. I was
always.
the type of student that if I was skipping school and saying I decided to show up at like 11, you was having the best day ever. You on the board writing, great job, Clark. You was like, for real, you in the spirit, because you thinking I'm gone.
So you were that student. Lord help us.
When I walked in, your face would just drop. Like, you ain't got the flu?
Right.
I'm like, no, what up, though? You know
Right.
I was a terror. Like, I went to 3 different schools from 9th grade, was bomb threats, setting off fire alarms, flooding the school, cutting electricity out, starting fights, starting riots. I was a mess.
And so at what point did you decide to turn that around? Like, what happened to allow you to turn that around?
So I went to one school, Oakwood. I ended up getting kicked out. I cut the electricity off and some other stuff, and they was just like,
this guy.
You doing the most. You know what I'm saying? And so they kicked me out. The next year I went to school called Johnson High, huge school, primarily African American, about 1,600 students, and I just completely bombed, made all F's, 1 C. Guess what I got a C in? Take a guess.
Jim.
You know some folks be like English. I'd be like,
no, Jim.
Yeah,
Right.
And then, so I had to repeat it again. And then I went to another school, and I changed my grades, but that's a whole other conversation. But I went to another school, Huntsville High, and this is my 3rd try, but I came across a group of teachers. They was just on something. We see the best in you. They were excited, like, Jeremy, I heard great things about you. I heard you were a leader. They didn't say I was leading people in the wrong way.
Right.
They just
recognized
me
it.
as you're a leader.
Recognize
you have
it.
leadership skills.
Right.
We heard you have a lot of energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We heard you very
so they
creative.
took the negative and turned it into a positive.
Right.
Yeah, that's so needed, you all.
Yep, that's it. They looked at what was wrong with me and focused on what was strong with me.
Nice.
So they ignored what was wrong or didn't focus on that, but they focused on what was strong and began to build me up.
Nice.
And was like, okay, Jeremy, you got all this energy. Like, maybe you should join the track team in wrestling. I was like, bet. Okay, Jeremy, you need to be a little bit more structured and disciplined. How about you start and join Army ROTC? And I was like, okay, cool. You need some mentorship and some good study habits. How about you join Sigma Phi Psi academic fraternity? I was like, nah, they some lames. They was like, trust me, you should do this.
Right.
And I did it, and I made that connection. And next thing I knew, I was taking summer school to night school, and within 2 years, caught up with my right grade.
Nice.
And
Now that's inspiration. So if I have any of my students out watching the show tonight, this is inspiration that lets you know that you can do whatever you put your mind to, whatever you want to do. So talk to me about a time, or has there ever been a time where you did a talk and it bombed? Or it didn't go as planned?
As a professional or just period?
Just period.
Well, okay, so starting off, so whenever you go in uncontrolled environments like outdoor community events or block parties or stop the violence rallies, like things like that can be weird.
Right.
You know, you're talking on the microphone and there's 600 people, half the people talking on their phone, kicking it, and then other people have listening. That's weird. But as far as like engagements where they pay me to come into an auditorium or a gym or I'm on a big stage speaking, I've had a spotless record except for one experience.
What happened?
I've been privileged to step on every stage, every type of school. I went to this one school, I want to say they were in Illinois. It was an urban school, inner city, and they had 3,200 students.
Ooh.
So imagine this.
That is a lot.
They gym. I walk in the gym like, yo, this is like a college gym.
Right.
It's like a baby arena.
Right.
And so they brought out all the people in the local news. Like it was like a thing.
Right.
And it was a big thing because the school has so much violence, so much poverty, so much gang stuff. But I never knew that they never had an assembly ever with all of their students.
Wow.
And the reason they never had an assembly with all of their students is because they savage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they savage. So it was custom for them to have a 9th grade assembly and bring in about 900 of them, and then a 10th grade assembly,
separately.
bring in 800.
Right.
But for me, they was like, we're going to do it big, and that just wasn't wise. And this is why I knew it was going to be a challenge. I've never had a school where I couldn't capture the crowd and gain their respect. When the principal came up, and she talking and trying to get the quiet down, and I looked at my watch, it's 5 minutes later. And she's saying stuff like, y'all are embarrassing me. Y'all are security, get him. I'm thinking like, man, this is a mess.
Wow.
Like, just give me the microphone. So I go up there, and I'm talking. I give my normal spiel that typically makes them be like, oh, snap, he ain't quiet.
Right.
They quiet up.
Right.
They was like, whatever. They was doing my thing. And then about 10 minutes in, out of the 3,200, I promise you, I had about 2,900 was locked in.
Nice.
But when you look at 300 people spread across a big gym, that's still a major distraction.
It is.
Imagine.
I could imagine.
Imagine.
I
Like
could imagine.
3,200 kids, 2,900 are locked in with me. They saying stuff, hey, my nigga, don't you worry about that, bro. We rocking with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they giving me that energy.
Right.
But when you got 300 here or there, like, man, look at that right there.
Right.
It projects. And so that was probably one of the roughest. And I fought through it. I fought through it for like maybe 40 minutes. I fought through it and got out of there, and they clapped, and it was dope. But for me,
yeah,
I'm used to speaking and having the moments when I can control the crowd.
Exactly.
When I know when they're going to laugh. I know when they're going to cry. I know when you can hear a pin drop. And that's cool.
Yeah.
So that was a moment when, that was one engagement when it didn't quite work out how I expected.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who does Jeremy Anderson look to for inspiration? Because I know that you work, if you all didn't know, he works with some of the greatest motivational speakers out there today, E.T. Thomas, the list goes on. And so who do you look to for inspiration? Who inspires you?
You know, I find inspiration from a lot of different places.
Okay.
I'm gonna be real vulnerable, right?
Please.
In times when I want to complain, you know what I'm saying? If one of my homeboys in a wheelchair, and I'm like, man, every day he get up, get out, put himself in the tub, wash himself, get out, dry himself off, gotta roll over, get back in this wheelchair. It's convicting for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got another one of my homeboys, he paralyzed, so he can't use his arm. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, but every time I see him, he got joy. He wrapped that sleeve around it. He's still working out. He's still having fun with his family. So I don't necessarily find inspiration from other speakers. I've been inspired by E.T. and some of the other greats.
Right.
That's changed my life, been mentors, like big brothers to me. Like, we like family. I know E.T. for probably 25 years now.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so I find inspiration from people like the average person like might not. I find inspiration from my wife. Like, I had to fuss at the other night. I came up in the room. It's like 9 o'clock. She's got her computer up. I'm like, if you don't put that computer down, you know what I'm saying? I had to like fuss, like, come on, like stop, like for real, like stop it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, but she like really be working.
Yeah.
I seen her pop our kids out. I seen her put that epidural on her back. I sang that T.I. You can have whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I find inspiration from that. My mama had a stroke about 2 years ago, and to see how she's still working out, she's still finding joy, she's still finding peace.
Nice.
I'm like, man, so I find people like that, and then it inspires me. And then I see what some of my homeboys are doing philanthropy-wise, and then that inspires me to do more, and to give more, and to serve more. So I find inspiration in all different areas. One of my homeboys just bought a Lambo, brand new Lamborghini. 0 miles. The only reason he got 42 miles when it was in his possession is because, you know, they got a test drive.
Right.
I'm like, bro, you bought a brand new, but what people don't know is 12 years ago he quit his job and he was serving communities, he was feeding homeless, he was just giving back as he was building this business. And so I'm inspired to see this young brother who's younger than me, balling out of control and making a crazy impact in the world. So, yeah, I find inspiration in all sorts of places.
So why is it important? So, you know, you were mentioning your friends and their successes. Why is it so important not to compare what you have going on with someone else? Why is that important?
You know, it's almost like me comparing some pants that you're wearing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We don't have the same style, the same dimensions, the same fabric. It's weird. And you never know what people are going through.
True.
Like, you never know what people are having, what they had to fight through, what they had to experience. And honestly, that's something God was really working on me heavy either last year or 2018. He was showing me how to celebrate others and not compare myself. Because it's so easy to go to Instagram and I'm doing well. Folks probably be looking at me and seeing the life I'm living and probably be hating in their heart like, man, look what he got. Why he get that? When my time gonna come? And they have no clue of the pain, the hell, the frustration, the tears, the depression, the anxiety, the counseling, the mental therapy I had to go through. You know what I'm saying? All the mornings I was in the office crying, wrestling with God, like really trying to just like go to that next level. Like people don't see that, but I still kind of had that mindset on me. And I'll never forget seeing, this is right when our curriculum dropped. Okay. So it was 2018. And I saw this guy who looked up to me. He came to me and E.T. at a conference one day and was just like, man, I look up to y'all doing great work. Here it is years later, and he had took a picture on Instagram, and he showed like a whole bunch of books stacked up. And he was like, yo, shout out to the school district that just bought a book for every one of their students. I'm embarrassed to say, but I was in his pocket. I'm thinking like, man, that's probably 1,600 books at $10 a book. And I'm thinking like, man, how come? And because for me, the stakes were so high.
Right.
We had put in so much work to
So
get
much
our
work.
curriculum out here.
Right.
We made such a major investment when it came to the production of it. And now it's like we got to put buku money to be able to market it. And then it just seemed like he just got a crazy deal, and the school just want to order all these books from him. And I wasn't, this is what I wasn't saying. I wasn't saying, man, his books ain't better than mine. I wasn't saying that.
Right.
I wasn't saying, man, he whacked him. I wasn't saying that. I was just saying, how come they didn't get my stuff? What about me?
Right.
And I realized, man, God was like, yo, if you're not celebrating, you hate me.
Right. Don't be a hater because it gets greater later.
Yeah,
so you all need to keep that in mind. I did that. Yeah.
Don't be a hater because it gets greater later. I'm gonna use
it.
But really, I was like, man. He was like, yo, if you're not celebrating, you hating. And I was like, I mean, I'm not saying he whacked. I'm just saying he was just like, you should be excited that this young brother that could be out here in these streets is in school, getting his master's, out here speaking, making an impact. You should be rooting like, let's go. Yeah. You should be geeked, but because you so selfish, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, we got curriculum writers. I want to make sure I do my part. And he was just like, bro, you need to learn to celebrate. And so sometimes I'm just sharing that with y'all.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we can see what other people have and what they're experiencing, and we can wonder, when is my time going to come? How dare I question that brother? I don't know how many times he's been speaking.
Right.
I don't know what type of investment he made with that book. I don't know how many times he's been adding value to school. How dare I feel like I should have got that opportunity? I ain't even ever been in that state and even spoke before.
Yeah.
How dare I?
Yeah.
How narcissistic of me. I should be rooting for that brother. Then I realized, like, yo, I got to work on my heart. I should have saw that. I should have saw that and be like, ooh, I know my time will come.
Right.
I'm so grateful for you.
Right.
But I was in such a place of scarcity. Like, man, I didn't put it, so I took out some loans. We done dropped some major bread. We got all these curriculums, K through 12. I'm thinking, like, this thing got to blow.
Right.
And it just seemed like it was easy for him. And God was like, bro, you have no clue what he had to go through.
Right.
And I'm going to bless you just like I want to bless him, but I want to make sure that your heart is pure. And so these are the type of conversations we be having and that I be trying to grow with, because you will go to Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and TikTok and Snapchat and LinkedIn, and it seems like things are just working out, but oftentimes we have no clue what's going on behind the scenes,
right,
or what they did to put themselves in that position to receive what they're getting.
So talk to us about what has been so far your most humbling experience in this realm or arena.
So I have a humbling experience, but it's not like I got humbled.
Okay.
It's more like I even felt humbled to be in that position.
Okay.
So I turned 40 in August, right? And so my wife was like, what are you going to do for your birthday? And I'm like, man, I know a lot of people. I want to have this big thing, but we're in the pandemic.
Exactly.
So I was just like, you know what? Like, maybe I'll do some type of like scholarship fund when the pandemic ends. Maybe we can have like a big gala. Everybody can get dressed up.
Right.
Who's on the guest list.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
You know.
You know what I'm saying? And we all come together and celebrate and raise money to put a few kids in college. So we got a nonprofit in South Africa. And my guy, Gavin, our director, he was like, yo, can you and Tracy, because we've been solely sponsoring our nonprofit.
Okay.
We really need to step out, go to that next level and get some corporate sponsors. You know what I'm saying?
Corporate sponsors. Next level.
Please,
you want to go
yes.
next level.
I'm trying to tell you. And so he was like, yo, can you and Tracy sponsor 10 kids? I mean, no, he was like 30. I'm like, 30? I'm like, bruh, we ain't got it like that.
Right.
Right. Kids to go to college.
Right.
I said, how about we start with 10? Me and Tracy will consider sponsoring 3, and I'll reach out to some of my influential friends and see if they can sponsor the other 7.
Okay.
And then one morning, that thing hit me. I was like, nope, you didn't even consult me. You just went right to lean not. What I told you, lean not to your own understanding, son. He was like, he told you 30. You talking about 10. How about you put that together since you turned 40, Negro? I want you to sponsor 40 kids, and you and Tracy gonna pay for 10 of them. I said, ooh. And so the humbling part of that is I was humble, like, okay, we're going to sponsor 40 kids. You're going to have to open up the Red Sea.
Wow.
But then, as I put it on Facebook and Instagram, I started having friends say, hey, bro, how much? Come get the check. I was like, ooh. And that's been August, the end of August, September, October. It hadn't even been 3 months, and we got 37 kids fully sponsored for college.
When you listen and you do what he says, when you listen.
So for me, it's so humbling to have people that hit me out the blue, say, hey, I want to sponsor a kid, how much? I have my people send a check over. And I'm just like, so for me, that's probably like currently one of the most humbling experiences where I'm like wow, like people see what we've been doing and they believe in it and they want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. That's a real humbling experience.
Wow. So what is your favorite Bible verse or quote that keeps you going?
Psalms 37:4. Yeah, Psalms 37:4 says, if you delight yourself in the Lord, he'll give you the desires of your heart.
Amen.
Watch this now. I'm going to have to go there now. It didn't say if you are faithful. It didn't say if you're obedient. It didn't say if you worship. It says if you delight yourself in the Lord. So it's levels to it. It's one thing for me to say, let me wake up early and read a little book or read a Bible.
Right.
I got to.
Right.
It's something different when you go to sleep earlier at night so you can wake up in the morning and have that time with God. So I had to grow to get to that place. Because I was kind of like, let me do it because I feel guilty. He's been really good to me. Then after the next few years, I was like, no, I get some good insight. Then they got to a point where it's like, man, I need that.
Exactly.
Like, it's vital.
Right.
You delight yourself in the Lord. He'll give you the desires of your heart. That's showing me like, because I can trust you with it. Because now your heart is more pure. Because the Bible says like the heart is evilly wicked, who can know it, right?
Right.
But it's like, he's like, the more you spend with me, the more we in tune. What I like, you like. My will is not your will. I can now trust you with the desires of your hearts because your heart is more pure. And so that is what I stand on.
Wow.
Yeah, favorite scripture. Yeah.
So some people have a hard time deciphering whether it is God that is telling them something or if they're telling themselves something they just want to hear. What advice would you give to someone who's struggling with that?
Yeah, that is probably one of the number one questions I get. And that's really sometimes that's my beef with guys sometimes. I'm like, can you just make it plain?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I promise you, I've had some combos. I would like to say drag out, but I'm the only one dragging. But I'm like, come on, God, just make it clear. I really be like, yo, I feel like you're playing me. Like, if you don't want me to do it, just say no.
Wow.
Or I know you said to do this. Why you not opening the door?
Right.
And it seems like he just silent. And so this is my advice. This is what I tell people. If they feel like, God is telling them to do something. For one, he's not going to tell you to do something that's malice, that's mean, that's evil.
Exactly.
Right? So he's not going to be like, you need to go slap her and teach her a lesson. He's not going to say that. So for me, I have to always consider the source. Like, okay, is that the heart of God? But when it comes to like making specific decisions, sometimes I ask for a sign. Sometimes I just have to get out here. But one of the things I like in the Bible is it says that what is it? Not that God is rewarded those who faithfully diligently seek Him, but it says that there is safety in a multitude of counsel. Wow. There's safety in a multitude of counsel. So the more people you surround yourself with that are godly, that are positive, you put yourself in the best position. And so for me now, I don't make any moves if it's not in alignment with my wife, and I don't make any moves that I'm confused about. If I reach out to my mentors or the elders in my life, and they like, yo, I'm not feeling it, or that don't really make sense, I'm like, cut it. I'm not even trying to convince them. I'm like, no, I'm going to cut it. And so that's what I would say. I would say find some people in your life, pray about it, ask for a sign, and if you're still not sure, ask yourself, like, is this something, that I want to do, or is this something that you want me to do? And then sometimes it can be good things. I err on the side of caution. It seems like every time I'm in the titty, I got me so much, I can't wait to get home and smash it. I stop at the light and the homeless person be like, with a sign, and I'm like, is God telling me? I'm like, let me not even, some things I don't even have to ask.
Right.
Let me just bless you, bro. I could buy 10 meals. Let me just give this to you. You know what I'm saying? And so, but then it comes to some things like hardcore life decisions. And it's like, okay, God, what do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? So when it came time for me to quit my job and go full-time speaking, I was doing corporate, I was doing churches, and I was doing schools. And I was holding on to all three of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoever want to book me, I didn't get that bad.
We're trying to get paid.
I'm trying to get paid. I got to pay the rent. I didn't sign up for this to get the car repoed.
Right.
So let me be responsible. And because we quit our jobs, I walked away from a guaranteed salary, income, healthcare benefits, and everything else. I wouldn't have done that if my wife was like, nah. But we was in one accord, so much so that she quit her job. You see how that is? Like, I have like a framework.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In place. And then for a few years, 2016, 2017, I was really frustrated with God because I was like, yo, I'm not happy where I'm at. I know you want me to pivot, but I felt like he was quiet. And one of my mentors said, you stay in that place until he gives you a different assignment. He was literally like, if you're a captain of a platoon in the army and you give them a specific mission, they gonna keep executing that mission until you tell them something different. And he was like, yo, the Lord is the same way. So until he tells you clearly something different, you just keep hitting that mark, because it's obviously something that you have to learn there in that place. There's obviously something you have to experience in that place. And though you want to remove it, you want to remove that thorn from your side.
Right.
He's like, no, I put it there so that you don't become conceited, right? I don't want you lacking nothing. I'm going to keep it right there. My grace is sufficient, right?
Yes.
My strength is made perfect in your weakness. So I'm going to keep you right there at that factory. I'm going to keep you right there at that job. I'm going to keep you right there in that classroom. It's obviously a few more things I want you to work on. It's a few more kinks I want you to work out. It's a few more character flaws. It's some areas of your faith I want to grow inside you.
Yeah.
And then when I feel like now I'm ready to release you, I can release you from there. And this is what I will share with anybody that feels like, I'm tired, he don't get me, he's not hearing me. Man, I realized something. God loves us so much. The Bible says that the love that we have for our children is a flawed love. I was upstairs giving Jackson a little bath, kissing my little boy to sleep, giving him this little almond milk. I gave him this Patsy. I need to get him off that Patsy because he too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm just like, that's my little boy, my daughter, that's my baby girl. But to know that that love is flawed compared to the love that God has. Mm-hmm. So if I really truly believe that, then I gotta know you're not trying to play me. You're not trying to embarrass me and humiliate me. It's just something else I gotta learn here.
Right.
So let me not be a brat. Let me carry this cross. Let me go through this struggle, because it's gonna make me stronger. Yeah. Then when I stand before the people, my story is different. Then I might have a sound that nobody else has. Then I'm gonna sing a song can't nobody else sing. Right. Then I can stand on stage with other people. It will crush them. Right? I'm going to be able to go on platforms. So I will tell you and everybody else watching and listening, all the things that we go through, it's to make us stronger. It's not for naught. We're not just out here just going through whatever we're going through.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So the high blood pressure, you know what I'm saying, the cancer, the diabetes, the MS, like all those things that's happening with you, the loss, the depression, the anxiety, all the stuff you're fighting through, you're getting stronger. Yeah. And then when you stand before the people, you'll have something to say. So when people say, oh, Jeremy, you're so anointed, you're so powerful, because I've been crushed. That's where you get the oil from. You get the olives. You crush the olives, you get the oil.
Absolutely.
You get the grapes, you crush it, you get the juice. Everybody want that drip, but don't nobody want to be crushed. Everybody want the anointing, but they don't want to go through that pain. Right. And so I had to just go through that. And so I don't even know how we even got on this.
Oh, because we were supposed to get on it. Okay. That's why.
Okay.
That's why.
Yeah. So I would just say to anybody out here, hang in there, stay the course. If you got to make some adjustments, if you got to pivot, you got to get some counseling, you got to let go of some stuff, you got to stop some bad relationships. Like, you do that stuff within you, right? But I believe that God will bless us with what he can trust us with. Nice. So when I tell you, me and Tracy had to go through marriage counseling, when I tell you I had to have my own counselors, when I tell you I had to go through some serious things, I was working on my character to make sure I was the absolute best I could be. I just realized, like, I don't want to be what they say, my boy Inky would say, he don't want to be a public success, but a private failure. And we hear oftentimes of great leaders. We talk about
absolutely,
whether they in the church or whether they in corporate America or as congressmen, they get high up there. You know what I'm saying? Their talents will take them there, but their character can't keep them there. Wow. And so I would just always tell people, like, there's a lesson in the valley. You know, and it's only a matter of time before you get back to that mountain high. But then don't be surprised if you dip back down to a valley low, because there's something else that you got to learn, and that keeps you relevant. That keeps you that keeps your content relevant. That keeps you in tune with people. You know what I'm saying? So that you can really relate to them, so you can meet them where they are.
Wow. Okay, so last question. We know that everything is going on with the election. Everybody's kind of like on edge. Mm-hmm. Some people, you know, people that I've actually talked to are like really stressing out as if God is still not in control. So I guess I just want you to speak to that and inspire my tribe in 60 seconds.
Yeah, so I'll say this. I read some of the Bible that says that God put kings up and take kings down. And so when I go to the book of Revelation, like, I see all the crazy stuff that's going to happen in the world. I don't know. I voted, you know what I'm saying? I'm really advocating, you know what I'm saying? I'm seeing the divisiveness that's coming from our current president, and there's a lot of that negative energy, and I'm like, I'm just ready to get back to a stable, calm place. But this is what I told myself. I'm not going to let the White House dictate what happens in my house. I want the best for our country, but I will refuse to put all the ownership on the White House. Tracy didn't marry the White House. Jewel don't call Trump or Biden daddy. She called me daddy.
Right.
So I'm responsible for sowing the seeds, for pouring into my family, for loving my family, covering my family, protecting my family. Like, that is my responsibility. I'm a vote, and I did vote.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We had people that gave their life and some murdered for us to have that right.
Exactly.
And I'm hoping, you know what I'm saying, that our country can get to a place where there's more peace and love and equality, and we're in a more harmony place, right? But until then, I'll make sure that my home is in harmony, and everyone that comes within my home is in harmony.
Nice. So after that, you all, I don't have anything else to say. So thank you so much, Jeremy, for being here. You all, in the meantime, stay inspired. Peace.